Mr. Speaker, I rise to, in all honesty and with a very emotionally distressed mood, reject unequivocally the E-levy. Mr. Speaker, we all agree that they've run this country into a ditch. We all agree that they have damaged and compromised the future of our economy. We all agree that they have come to a point where out of 145 billion appropriation we gave them, only 6 billion less will run this country aground. Mr. Speaker, we have come to a point where the minister himself says that government is broke. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, rather than sounding at the risk of saying that we have been blackmailed through some of the comments of government to approve E-levy, by saying that if you don't approve E-levy, you won't pay school fees. If you don't approve E-levy, you won't get your salary. If you don't approve E-levy, you won't construct your roads. Are we being blackmailed to accept the misery? Mr. Speaker, I have read today that today is the president's birthday. And I wish him a happy birthday. But unfortunately, he has come to wish the whole of Ghana a very sad birthday. Mr. Speaker, he has marshaled all his troops to this chamber to deliver misery and rape the poor's little money. Mr. Speaker, it will go down as the president who chose a very memorable day to punish his own citizens with E-levy. Mr. Speaker, when we were all gearing up to support the Ghana Black Stars, we didn't know that what will make us not eat our supper is E-levy. And I want this message to go to the president, that he was elected to serve the people and not to punish them. The people have roundly rejected E-levy. Our constituents have given us clear instructions not to approve E-levy. And yet the president says he would impose E-levy whether you like it or not. And he will do it as a birthday present to himself. Mr. Speaker, only last week, the finance minister delivered a policy statement to the people of Ghana. It was a policy statement that eventually became very underwhelming because it was empty and provided no solutions. But even more was that the deception of government was very explicit in that statement. Mr. Speaker, in that statement, the minister says that he is cutting the budget by 20%. 20% of 149 billion appropriation gives us 29 billion Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker. The minister said he would then cut discretionary expenditures such as goods and services and capital expenditure by a further 10%. Mr. Speaker, capital expenditure in the budget is 16 billion. So if he's taking 10% out of that, that will give us 1.6 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, the goods and services budget is 9 billion Ghana cedis, but included in that is free SHS. And the president says, even when he says review of SHS, it means cancel. So it means that the expenditure on free SHS has become non-discretionary. So I take 3 billion out of it, I'm left with 6 billion. Take 10% of that, that's 600 million. Mr. Speaker, if you add 600 million to 1.6 billion, you get 2.2 billion Ghana cedis. Add that to the 20% cut of 29 billion, and Mr. Speaker, the minister has proposed to cut 31.2 billion Ghana cedis from the budget. Mr. Speaker, your deficit is 37 billion. You are cutting off that deficit by about 31 billion. Mr. Speaker, your only deficit left is 2 billion. Why are you still crying over E-levy? Why are you still crying over E-levy when after cutting all of this, your deficit is only 6 billion? What type of mathematics did you do? So, Mr. Speaker, the minister proposed to cut, but he knows he's not cutting. That is why today they are here with E-levy. But, Mr. Speaker, the budget was brought here on the 17th of November 2021. Today is 29th March 2022. Approximately 4 months and over, this government says the only thing they know is E-levy. And they won't come to us to tell them where to get the money from. so they will spare the poor. After 4 months, you can't even think inside the box to find a solution. And you are still insisting that you will still take E-levy even if the people don't like it. Mr. Speaker, they turned this E-levy into the fancy ghost, the dilemma of the ghost. It was roaming everywhere apart from Parliament. This E-levy that was sick, the cure was here. You were roaming in Ho, you were roaming in Takrady, you were roaming in Tamale. With this ghost, he doesn't know his home. His home is here. Today you have come. This is where the home is. Mr. Speaker, all the monies that were wasted, if they were pulled together, would have solved a problem better than just touring around the country. You cannot engage in wanton waste of public resources when you are pursuing to take money from the poor man's pocket. My honorable colleague has demonstrated to us that E-levy turns every single policy principle of taxation on its head. You are now teaching our students to learn something different that is not even in the textbooks. That E-levy now means taxing savings. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the report is very clear that anytime you do a transaction through the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, you pay E-levy. What it means, Mr. Speaker, is that if you write a check and you don't personally go to the counter to cash it and you ask the bank to clear it, they will meet you at the gift and take the E-levy. So you are now encouraging us to go to the bank and take our money from the counter. Who does that in this modern era? Mr. Speaker, fortunately, whether it was by slip of tongue or by slip of the mouth, the Minister for Roads came here and told us what we have been fearing all this while. That E-levy is meant for government to collateralize into the future and take more borrowing money. Mr. Speaker, after you have borrowed to the point where you have been told that your biggest sickness is borrowing, you are so addicted to borrowing that you are struggling to withdraw. That all that you know is borrowing. And I liken this government to that of somebody who has taken hepatitis so much that he now has cirrhosis. The doctor says you are getting cirrhosis of the liver, so don't take hepatitis again. Then you wake up in the morning and you are feeling cold. You pass by the blue kiosk and take another quarter. And when you come and say, hey, you people say I shouldn't take hepatitis. When I took it, can't you see I'm now warm? You are on your way to death. Mr. Speaker, this borrowing that you are doing is what will kill this government and will kill this country. Please, if you don't have a future, leave the future for our children and our grandchildren. Don't destroy this country. Mr. Speaker, this is a government that came and all they know is collateralization. Get Fund that was building schools, you have used it to go and collect money. Now, Get Fund is becoming a debt payment center and not a school construction entity. When you came ESLA, after you resisted ESLA and called it all names, another collateralization. Sino-hydro, Mr. Speaker, I am not sure the president has ever seen that bauxite buried in Yinahini, but he has already taken it to collect money. Mr. Speaker, the only thing now left, which we are rejecting, is that they want to now collateralize the poor man's pocket to collect money. Mr. Speaker, what is the crime of our people? What is our crime as a country? That we elected a group of people who don't know how to govern, that we elected a group of people who will not listen to us, that we elected a group of people who only know how to borrow. And in fact, when they even borrow, sometimes, the other time they went and borrowed, when Benin and Cote d'Ivoire refused to accept 5.6%, they collected 11% to come and eat kenke. And they were celebrating with kenke and fish. So that is your strong point. Your strong point is to borrow Ghana and borrow us to death. Mr. Speaker, today is a very sad day. If the president is listening, today there is a rallying cry from the people of Ghana for him to save us our pesos in our pocket. And the earlier the president will call all his troops that are gathered here, including the Minister of Finance, to go and do the other difficult business in his office and spare us this E-levy, the better it is for our country. Mr. Speaker, the market will only respond only for a while. Because your announcement of the intention, there's the intention to tax Momo, Momo. People are running away from Momo. Just the intention. So December, 3 billion, gone. January, 6.7 billion, gone. Just the intention alone has caused E-levy Momo to drop by almost 9.7 billion. Now, imagine you now proceed after this meeting. That you had the confidence to even bring back E-levy is enough to come out to collapse Momo. Mr. Speaker, I am very sad. I'm emotionally distressed, particularly because I'm from a very rural constituency. And I know how it is to give the people just 20 cedis to survive. Unfortunately, there are people living in glass houses who don't know poverty. And so they will visit poverty on the poor. I wish they change their mind and withdraw E-levy so we can help them to solve the problems that we put this country into. Thank you.